This information is not intended as legal, health, or nutritional advice. It is provided for informational purposes only. The Natural Health Product Protection Association does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements, views, or opinions presented by guests or attendees. Help us help you. If NHPPA's work to protect your natural health product and practice freedom is important to you, please make a one-time or monthly donation by visiting nhppa.org/donate.
Well, hello everyone to the call. My name's Sean Buckley. I work with the NHPPA, and this was kind of a short notice call, but it's so important. So I'd like to introduce, many of you will have seen Jason Dahl on the last couple of calls. Jason works with us putting stuff like this together and some of our campaigns. And then I've asked Christine Schumann to join the call. Christine is vital to me when I need a whole bunch of organization. And we're going to be building an airplane as we fly it on this. And so I asked Christine to come and help with the call and participate. So that's who we are, and let's just launch into things because I want us to have a lot of time for questions and answers. But we all know it's arrived. The guessing's over on when an election's going to happen, April 28th. And it's funny, I do not watch the mainstream media and haven't been following it at all. And I've already had, several people ask me, do you believe the polls and all of this? And I'm happily apolitical right now. So, but I do recognize that this is going to be a historic election for us. And it could be a game changer if we take this opportunity. So let's just first talk about where we were before the election was called on the weekend. And where we were is we had created really unprecedented political pressure. Like, I get the NHP community had created pretty good pressure in the 90s and, pretty good pressure on the Bill C-51. But we're at the same level or above. And in fact, what we did with the standing committee with Bill 368, that was unprecedented. Like in a week, 250,000 emails to 12 MPs sitting on a committee and having a committee member actually vote against his own amendment. I don't think that had ever happened before. And yet, despite all this pressure, despite like millions of postcards, we still have Health Canada pressing ahead. They've been absolutely clear. Let's just talk cost recovery, but they're pressing ahead on the entire self-care framework. But for those of you, just so that you know what I'm talking about with cost recovery and self-care framework, so Health Canada is once again, as they have for the 30 years I've been involved, they're in an initiative to try and regulate NHPs exactly the same as chemical drugs. We're just farther down the garden path on this one. They've already moved us into, the powers and penalties meant for the big pharma companies. And another aspect to get full harmonization is, well, let's charge the NHP companies the same fees. So, when you apply for a product license, let's charge them for a fee. Let's charge them for a yearly fee. Let's charge them for site licensing fees. And the margins in the industry are so tight that most of the industry isn't going to survive that part of the self-care framework alone, and their timetable is this year. It's this year, and it could be any time. Christine will know when I say this, but because she watches what's happening for me, gazetting and all of that, and because of an email we got from the head of a political party, we thought cost recovery was imminent. And so I told Christine, you watch this like a hawk. I want to know when they gazette cost recovery, because all they have to do is publish it and we're there. And it literally within the dominoes would start to fall, because as soon as it comes into force, then we're going to have, the homeopathic supplier and the TCM suppliers basically decide not to carry on business in Canada, and we're going to have a lot of other companies decide not to carry on business in Canada. And then we're also going to lose our manufacturing expertise. So right now we have a lot of small manufacturers, But if they have to pay, 40, 50 grand a year just for a license to manufacture, what they're going to do is those companies are going to stop manufacturing, and we're going to end up with 2 or 3 large contract manufacturers. And then if they want to shut the industry down, all they have to do is shut down those contract manufacturers. So we become extremely vulnerable, like the food supply has when they shut down all the small abattoirs. So this is a game changer. Health Canada knows, and every MP knows, that Canadians don't want this. And yet Parliament is not being responsive. So we know we have to turn up the heat. And now we're in an election. And the last thing we want is for new MPs showing up, not having an idea that this is an issue and us having to educate them. And this is the pressure point. This is when parties are paying attention. For those of you that have been involved in political parties during campaigns, they're watching letters to the editor. They're watching what's being posted on social media and the comments. They're paying attention to what questions are being asked whenever they hold an event. And I mean, I'm talking even their own friendly events. Because what happens is so like in my riding, there'll be 3 or 4 people running. Well, we might have one debate, we might have 2 debates, we might have no debates, but each candidate's going to be having their own little functions, and they pay attention to what questions are being asked, and their campaign people pay attention. So we've got this huge opportunity to basically organize, to create pressure, and we got 5 weeks. Almost exactly 5 weeks. And that's not a long period of time. So, it's almost like, you're in university and you got 5 weeks to finish your papers and study for your exams, and then it's done, right? So why we're having this call is we want to use this period of time to see if we can organize. There's 338 federal ridings. And I know some of you say, wait a second, aren't there 343? Well, there's 4 permanent ridings in the Constitution, but otherwise there's 338 ridings. So as best we can, wouldn't it be something if we could, for each one of those ridings, basically be contacting all of the people that are running, contacting the media, having an interaction, having a dialogue, so that every single candidate and their parties are aware that this is a huge issue for Canadians. I mean, wouldn't it be interesting if, when the new Parliament sits, everyone understands, wait a second, we have to stop the self-care framework. We should move out of the drug model, and we should adopt the Charter of Health Freedom. So we've got an unprecedented opportunity here to create pressure, and I'm wanting to see if we can put teams together. Now, we'll all be volunteers here, but we can make a huge difference. And I'm going to talk about volunteering, and I'm going to talk about the difference, but let's just, and understand, nobody's really done this before. Nobody's tried to organize this way during an election to create, oh yeah, sorry, my birds are going. If it's too much of a problem, I can move them, so just let me know, Christine, if I can't be heard. And just so you know, they're quiet as can be until I start talking, and then they get going. And I think
lots of bird love in the chat, Sean.
Yeah, I think they're budgies. They're supposed to be budgies, but the police were here the other day and they were singing like canaries, so I'm not sure anymore. So okay, so let's get on again. So nobody's tried to do this before, and we haven't tried to do this before. I need a core of people that can give me a lot of time, where actually we can just brainstorm on how to organize this, and then I need like a wider army of people that are like, what we'll do is we'll teach you how to create pressure. And, we're going to learn as we go, but let's just think this out for a minute. Let's say we had 3 or 4 people in each riding, that could give us 5 or 6 hours a week each. Well, now we've got 25 hours in each riding, with those people that are on social media engaging in chats and questions and comments on social media. They're writing letters to the editor. They're making calls to the candidates. They're calling radio talk shows if you have them in your community. They're calling reporters. They're going to debates and events. And, hopefully we'll have teams of people as best they can showing up and doing this. They'll be contacting those people, for each of the candidates that are basically running the election. They'll be writing letters. They're going to be texting. They're going to be emailing. Dollars to Donuts, the NHPPA, we're going to be setting up some campaigns. And, what if some key, in some key ridings, the candidates got like 1,000 emails each because you participate in these campaigns that we do? Well, I can promise you that's never happened in the history of Canada before. And what if we rotated it around? And, in-person meetings and, even your own events. So these are just, I sat down this morning at my computer and thought, well, how do we put pressure on in campaigns? And we can create the messaging. And then, as we because like I say, we'll be building the airplane as we fly it. We'll just be learning from each other and making it happen. But I need dedicated people. What I learned with the National Citizens Inquiry, which was, literally thousands of volunteers by the end of the day, by the time we finished those 2023 hearings, is the most destructive thing possible, and listen carefully, the most destructive thing possible is when somebody says that they'll volunteer and you give them a task and they don't do it. It's better if they had never shown up at all, because, we're going to be flying by the seat of our pants and trying to get things doing. So a lot of people can get excited about all of this and, say they're going to volunteer, but I'm going to ask you not to volunteer if you're actually not willing to follow through. And so I was also thinking, because we've never done this before, that we're going to need some simple principles. And we don't care if you're a political animal. We don't care if you're not a political animal. It doesn't matter. But we're going to have a principle that when you're volunteering for the NHPPA, you're not political. I don't care if you are when you're not volunteering, but when we're talking about this issue and we're interacting and we're making an election issue, you're non-political. And again, I don't care what you do when you're not volunteering for us. We're in an election, and a lot of people are passionate, and they're party members, and they're involved, and that's great. That doesn't exclude you. It just means we're going to get everyone to agree that while we're pushing this issue, while we're, doing NHPPA messaging, you're not doing it on behalf of a political party. The other principle is you just have to treat people like you want to be treated. You have to be truthful is our third principle. And then our fourth one is, if you're going to say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. Or I'll tell you, we'll just, we'll drop you like a hot rock, because it's just too damaging, right? So, I want to be upfront about that. Being the main organizer of the National Citizens Inquiry, we had, volunteer after volunteer after volunteer that said they would do something and then didn't. So we're hoping to avoid that, just by being upfront. If you take on a task and something comes up and you can't do it, or, it's not what you thought, let us know immediately, right? None of this is complicated. We're in the process of organizing volunteers. We need you to let us know that you want to volunteer, and we've told you how to do that already, but you basically just go through our volunteer form. It's extremely helpful for us to know how much time a week you can give us, and be realistic. So don't tell us, so somebody asks, well, I need specifics. So the specifics is I want to go through people that have filled in volunteer forms in the next day or two and get a core team together to help me organize this. And then as we get organized, literally in the next few days, we're going to, put together materials and kind of a way to do it. And then we need to organize you into bigger teams and smaller teams. The goal is, literally, if we can have a team of you with all your contact particulars coordinating, how in a given riding you're going to be putting pressure on. And like I say, we're going to just collectively sort out how to do that, but we've already got a lot of good ideas. And we just need to figure out, I think the core messages will be, stop the self-care framework. So, we've got materials on explaining what that is already. I think the next core message is adopt the Charter of Health Freedom. It just fully solves this. And the third core message is get us out of the drug model. So we'll get that core messaging done, and we'll get it done really quickly. But, I need a team of people to help me sort out how are we going to organize this and actually do the organization work. And then, I'm just seeing somebody pops up on the chat. If I've got 5 people for 40 hours a week, we've made this an election issue. But probably in a couple of weeks, we'll have hundreds and hundreds of people that are willing to make this an election issue. So, but it's actually absolutely incredible how much pressure can be created by a small team of people working full time on an issue. And it's 5 weeks. It's 5 weeks. So, yeah, and what is hard work? So, the scary part is you have to interact with people, right? So, like literally, we want every newspaper, big and small, we want we want people sending letters to the editor. If you can't write that, then we need volunteers that can write that type of thing for you. We need you calling, we need you going to events, we need you emailing, we need you on social media, and we may need you leveraging all of this, right? So, meaning you might have several accounts, or also be using, your spouse's account or sibling's account or something, and leveraging the message. We're just going to try and figure that out. But and then when the NHPPA runs official campaigns, we've got just this huge reach, but we can't be doing that for every riding. So we've kind of got to pick those carefully as we go. And we want to be putting pressure on the policy people in the parties, because this is where they're really watching to see what issues bubble to the surface. So, yeah, like it's a brave new world. Literally, we'll be learning as we go. But what we'll do is we'll put together instructions, and then we'll try to organize you into, area teams, preferably per riding. But what's going to happen is there's going to be some ridings where it's kind of blank, and we'll just want to have other people covering it. Like we're just going to, as we have people, try and figure out how do we parcel you out so that every riding's getting some coverage. Even if you're not in that riding, who's going to know it first, right? I just want to be clear, we got an opportunity here. I haven't been this excited in a while over, a project, just, because it's crazy for starters, and because it's necessary, and that's what we do, is we create pressure, and this is a golden opportunity. And, we got to win this. And what an opportunity because of what's happening south of the border. And again, I don't care where you fall on that, what you think. Some things are coming to light that we didn't know about. And, the FDA is changing the way they do things and becoming transparent. And again, I don't care what you think about that. But as they become transparent and Health Canada remains, basically this black box that nobody knows what happens inside of it, there's going to be a contrast. And, it's pretty clear that there's going to be a loss of faith in how the FDA has done things, and that's going to translate to Health Canada. And so, we're gonna organize this. We're gonna organize these volunteers, and I'm hoping, I want everyone to push hard for 5 weeks, but I'm hoping when we're done this and we've built this infrastructure, that basically then we have a team of volunteers that now know how to create pressure. And let's say, because it's dawned on us, well, we need to actually put pressure on every single Health Canada employee. Not just the ones at the top, but every single one. We need that whole institution, everyone working there, to be asking the question, really, should we be telling people they don't have the legal right to take ginger tea? We should be censoring truthful health information? This is really what we should be in the drug model itself? We need to basically be getting the entire message out. For us to know that you're out there, you have to go to our website and fill in a volunteer form. And Jason, can we put in the chat a link to that. And I'm particularly interested in how much time you have to spend, because I need some people that can give some serious time for the next week or so, right? So, and I appreciate some of you can't spend a whole lot of time, but be honest about how much time you can spend. And we're going to do our best to try and organize you and put this together. And again, remembering we're building the airplane as we attempt to fly it. So, yeah, like, step one is get a team together, and we just start at, okay, what are our priorities and who can do what, and then let's just get going. So
I'm repeatedly linking to the volunteer site where you can fill out a quick form to let us know how and how much you can get involved. I'm just going to put that up on screen quickly for everyone to see. We need some simple information to know where you are, and we need to know how you're getting involved. Areas of interest, go into other, and tell us in the additional comments how much time you can dedicate, and how you can help, and we'll take you in and follow up.
Yeah, like let us know your skill set, right? Like, so I mean, right now, I got to get a team of people that can give me a lot of time for us to figure out, like, even start screening you and figure out where to go. Well, how do we even collate that? Like, are we going to use Excel sheets? Like, anyone that's got expertise in that type of thing, boy, put that in the other. Like, no, I can help you on the ground floor, start organizing this. I'm into information management. I mean, it's a separate skill. It's not my skill. I'm willing to write. I'm willing to write letters to editors. I'm willing to teach old people how to get on social media and comment. Like, whatever it is, like, understand that we're all going to learn as we go. Like, if I can tell you something funny is, like, remember when the Standing Committee of Health, they put in all these amendments, and we had a week to create political pressure to get them back down, and you did it. Like, I think we were almost like 250,000 email letters sent. Well, there was a postal strike on. So we couldn't get you to print out letters. Well, we didn't even think of the fax machine, and people are telling us, oh yeah, and I also printed out the letters and faxed them. Well, brilliant. Brilliant, isn't it? Like, so, I mean, we could even have somebody finding the fax numbers that exist for every policy person in every party. And, let's get a fax program up and start faxing, communications every day to every fax machine we have in every political party. Like, I mean, we're just brainstorming here, right? But how do we turn this upside down? Because this is the issue. Actually, our rights over our own bodies we're slaves if we don't have the right to choose how we treat ourselves or prevent illness. Like, it's the drug model's the issue, but I want to know, will Parliament be responsive or not? Like, is it as bad as I think it is, or can we reform this? I want to know, and I think you want to know.
That would be amazing to find out that we can change things, and if anyone is willing to commit, the link is being spread in chat constantly to go to the volunteer page, a little bit of information, tell us your skills. We will collect that. The purpose of tonight is to gauge interest and to get volunteers. And more detailed stuff, we will get into that immediately with you on the next call. But first, we need to know that people want to do this. So head over to nhppa.org/volunteer. The link is in the chat. And sign up if you're willing to commit. For all the rest of you wonderful subscribers, there'll be plenty for all the rest of us to do. Don't worry. There'll be social media pushes and the lot. But for those of you willing to take action, the link is in the chat. And thank you very much.
Yeah, and please do it. Please do it tonight, because Christine is going to be forwarding them to me. And then first thing I'm going to do is just, the odd person that is, saying they've got a lot of time, and I have a call with them and they seem to be reasonably qualified. Then we're just getting a small team together and figuring out how to blow this wide open as quickly as possible. So, yeah, so please do that. And it's also, we're going to obviously have to get this call out to other groups and, just get this going. So, but again, it's, this is fun and interesting, and we're supposed to have a elected autocracy, so let's participate in it.
I want to thank you, everyone, for turning out. Anything else we need to add, Sean, or are we done for the evening?
I think we're done, so I just wanted to thank you, Jason, and thank Christine for helping out with this call, and thank everyone for attending it. I was already encouraged because I thought just a quick call, and it's about actually getting people to do some work. I wasn't expecting as many people as we had, so I'm really encouraged and look forward to working with you. And like I get we get frustrated with this, but that's part of our journey right now. So thanks, everyone.